Hi, today I would like to talk about the web application that our team developed for the last 3 weeks. It is a blocking web application that we call Tiger Serverless Block Web Application. And the purpose is we would like to have the user to logging, create a post or read a post from other people, and they can click like or unlike the post that when they read the post from other people. So the high level architectural design is we have the front end, the back end, and the database. The front end is written using React JS and deployed to Azure Web Service. The back end written using Node.js and also deployed to Azure Web Service. The database is residing on the cloud. We are using MongoDB Atlas, and this is the very high level of the application. So let me run the application to show you how it works. Of course, there are many other things we have to do, but we don't have enough time to develop. We have only a couple of people, but uh, we try to finish as much as we can. And there are many other things we have to do, or bugs that we have to fix. But at least I can show you uh, the big picture of the application. So after the front end deployed to the cloud, the Azure Web Service, and if you can go to Tiger Serverless blocks dot Azure websites dot net, and you can see the website like this. So the website will have the title, the main menu, home, sign, and the user can uh, create a post and the welcome message. And on the left hand side is categories that people can choose the categories that they will want to look at the post, or they can click on button here and they will see all of the posts that retrieve from a database, uh, from 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 every single post from a database they retrieve from here. And if they click on the category, and it filter out uh, only the posts that belong to this category. So if you look at the postman category, you will see only the posts that they are talking about, only about the category postman. Now, when the first time when you launch the web, you can see or read everything uh, from the post from a database, but you cannot create a post at all. If you want to create a post, you need to sign in. So the first time you have to sign in. And if you don't have the uh, email address and password I said before, you can click on the sign up to to register a user. So suppose that I register um, my name here, and I can say 2345 Silam 2345, just a bogus email address, and a password 2345 245, and the password is hidden, and you click on sign up. So after you sign up, and you get back to the main page, right? And then after that, you need to sign in. You sign in using the same username and password that you created before. and you sign in, right? So after you sign in, and your name will show up here. Um, your name will show up here. Now, if you want to create a post, you have to sign in to create a post. If you don't sign in, you cannot create a post at all. So you have to sign in and click on user, and suppose that you say object-oriented programming in the category object-oriented programming, object C++ is object-oriented language. So hit publish, and you get back to the main page. And if you one of the things that we want to do is whenever you get back, and it will refresh uh, the page and show the the post that you just created here, right? So let me give you another example. Like click on user and AWS uh, uh, story account, right? Story account, and uh, I can say AWS. Uh, in the description, you say Amazon S3 is very cheap, right? And then you hit click on publish. So uh, yeah, one of the things that we want to do is refresh. After you get back to the page, we want to refresh the page, uh, right? So here, did you see uh, the, the the post that you just created here? Now, this is the front. This is the front end. The back end, to show you the back end. First, I would like to show you the database. So the database, right now there are two collections in MongoDB. The user um, collection. Whenever you register, you have the first name, last name, you first name, last name, password. Uh, the field is admin to say that you are admin or not. Is follow to see if somebody follow you or somebody not following you. Is account verified. We want to implement a feature that whenever you create account, it will send email to you, and after you verify the email, and this field will set it from false to true. That is one of the features that we want to implement, which is not in this demo today. And the profile photo is also one of the features we want to implement. Is you are able to upload the your photo whenever you create an account. The post count is how many posts you already created. That is also one of the features that we don't have. Okay, so that is the users collection. The post collection is whenever you create a post, and it will uh, update into the database here, and it will have title, categories, is number of view, how many people view this post, like. I want to set up an array of the user that click on the like button of this post, or dislike. Array of users. I said again, array of user. Uh, Click on the dislike button, which is the features that we don't have right now in this demo. For the user here, we want to do association between the post and the user collection, that who posts this post, right? So we want to keep track of uh, this post belong to whom. And so uh, you will see This is the database that a lot of, a few records here which show the post ID, uh, the date you create or the date you update, and also the user ID or the object ID of the user who create this post. That is the database. And to the back end. So to test the API that we create using Node.js, um, we're using the Postman to test. And I set up some action here to test the endpoint at the local host. So if you want to test the local host, uh, the endpoint is localhost colon 8080. But after you deploy to the Azure Web Service, you can test using the production website uh, that we call serverless blog API Azure website.net. Uh, Again, if you uh, when you go to the front end, it also the front end also deploy to Azure Web Service, but the name is different. Tiger Serverless Blobs Azure Websites.net. So to test the API, we can test the local here, and then we also test in the production here. So suppose that you want to create a user. Uh, if the user already exists, uh, right? So you send whenever you send a request, a post request to the endpoint API slash user slash register, and you have to have the body like first name, last name, email, password, and display name to register. So the user already registered. If already registered, and you will see the message sent back is user already registered. But if this is a new user, let me create a new user here. Sure. Okay, create, and then it will create a new user in the database. All right. New user interface with the user ID like this, okay, and the underscore ID is the record ID that create from inside MongoDB, and we we use that ID as a user ID in here. The password also is encrypted. Node.js using the B script to encrypt the password, so you don't see the password here. Okay. And then after you uh, create a user, and if you want to uh, log in, so let me show you the login API in the production. So if you try to log in and you send a post request to API users login with the body, email, and password. You hit send, and it login by you see it successfully by return the object, user object along with the token. So it creates a token here, and we use a token to attach to the header uh, to do uh, the calling to API, backend API. So suppose that after you log in successfully, you have a token. But if you fail to log in, like wrong password, and it said invalid login, right? So if you log in successfully, and you will see it return the user object along with a token. Now, after you receive a token, and if you want to fetch all the user, this feature we only want the administrator to implement, but not the regular user. So suppose that the admin want to fetch all of the user from a database after he logging, and he send the request to API user uh, with the uh, key name of authorization, and the value is the bearer with the access token, and hit send. So it will retrieve all of the users from the MongoDB, all of the user from the MongoDB. The password is also encrypted, so we don't know what it is, uh, right? And then if you want to uh, fetch a specific user, and you have to log in a specific user. So yeah, so if you want to specific user, and let me change the on in the production. Okay. Uh, all right. So after you logging success is success, and uh, we send the uh, we attach the header with authorization uh, value as a bearer and access token, and retrieve the specific user by passing the user ID to the backend endpoint, right? So you retrieve the specific user here. Now, uh, we also have the endpoint API post categories to retrieve all of uh, the, the categories from a database. This one we don't need to have the authorization key. If we want to retrieve all of the posts, if we want to retrieve all of the posts, retrieve all of the posts here, so we send the request to API post here. This one we don't have to have the authorization key. So retrieve all of the posts. Now look, this is where we use mongoose that we want to have association between parent and children, which is parent is the no the parent is the user, and the post is the children. So for every single post, you see that I have the user attached in here, uh, which is try to show that what user object to go along with the post that he posts, right? So this is the mongoose that when you look at the code in Node.js, you will see what we did. Uh, we are doing association between two collections, the post and the post collection and the user collection, right? Um, this is the retrieve post. If you want to retrieve the specific post by ID of the post, so uh, you send the request, the get request to add to the endpoint with the post ID, and it will retrieve the post here with the user to see who create this post, post title, category, uh, description, and also the description down here, right? So um, so that is the endpoint, a few endpoint that we implement so far. They are, as we design a lot of features, but uh, we don't have enough people, uh, and we don't have enough time to develop all of the features that we would like to show in this demo. But at least we show you where we are at. So we show you the front end, the back end, the database. Now, whenever you log in, whenever you try to retrieve, you log in into the database. Uh, uh, Let me show you the database again. Um, you need to have the let me show you the code here. Uh, CD there, CD, right? So we have front end and back end. We have the front end and the back end code here. So in the back end, so we have the in the back end. Okay, so we have front end and the back end. So the back end, um, we create some routes, the post route and the user route, as in the um, postman I showed to you. So some routes in here and some user routes in here. Um, the and then we also have the database logging into the MongoDB. The thing is that whenever you log in into the database, uh, we need to have the connection string, right? But the thing is that we don't want to show the connection string to MongoDB with the username and password in here. So that is why we we keep the let me keep on. So we keep the secrets and the uh, connection string in the um, Azure keyboard. So in the Azure keyboard, we create two secrets. One is the DB connection string or MongoDB connection string. So this is where we hide the uh, um, uh, the username password here, right? And then also for the secret, so the secret is the secret is where we excuse me. So the secret, we are using the secret to encrypt or decrypt the the password. Uh, we don't want to hard code inside the code, so uh, we save into the Azure keyboard, and then in the Node.js we use the package, the Azure client to access the keyboard, and also uh, we create the service. Sorry, let me drink a water here. So in order to have the application able to access the keyboard, we we create the active directory. So we register the application, right? So we register the application, we call it serverless block API. So we register the backend API here. So after we register, we have application client ID, object ID, directory, right, and client secret. So we use this um, to retrieve, to try to access the key vault. So get back to the key vault. I get back to the key vaults here, and to let uh, the the backend API access to this secrets. We set up the access policy and 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 the service principal. When it asks what is your the service principal, uh, we port it to the serverless block API that we the application that we register uh, through active the Azure Active Directory, and the permission, I give some permission get list, and in the future I could be doing something else like update the keyboard or create a keyboard. So that's what you see the long list here. But in fact, to to read from to read the value from the keyboard, we only need the get and list here in terms of the permissions. All right, so now in the React application, in the React, the front end is React application. We would like to deploy to uh, Azure App Service, and we create the CI/CD pipeline uh, as I'm showing you here. That the CI/CD pipeline here will read the code from GitHub, read the code from GitHub, and whenever someone developer check merge the code into the main or the master branch, it will automatically uh, trigger uh, the build. So we set the enable continuous integration automatically running the 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 build here, and after the build successfully and the release pipeline will automatically running, and it will um, deploy uh, it will deploy to the Azure App Service. Okay, so if you look at the the app service here, you will see that the front end we deploy to Tiger serverless block here with the URL like this, which is in here that you are seeing, and it will deploy automatically deploy for the back end. We deploy to serverless. We deploy to Azure Web Service too, and with the name Serverless Block API, with the endpoint Serverless Blocks API dot Azure websites.net. So that is what in Postman you will see that whenever I test, I have this endpoint right here, right? And it's different the way it deploy uh, backend API Node.js to web service is different. Uh, we try to do a different things here. First, we deploy the backend to the Docker to the Azure we build an image and we deploy to Azure container uh, registry, Azure container, Azure container registry, Azure container uh, uh, registry, container registry. So here, so well, we build the image and we upload into the uh, the container registry that we call Tiger registry, right? So we did upload it here, and then uh, we deploy to the Azure uh, uh, the the Docker the Docker to the web service from the Azure Container Registry. So there's two steps in here, right? There's two steps in here. So let me show you the back end here. So the back end we have a Docker file. We have a Docker file that we build a Docker file. We build the image, right? And when we use Node 16, making a directory, setting the working directory, running npm install, and running npm run that. So so after we run this, right? So after we run, so it depends. Uh, do it, right? And then let me show you the client ID, client secret, tenant ID that all uh, we put in here. Tenant ID, client ID, JWT key name that we try to get from the keyboard, DB name, that's the secret name we set. We try to get the secret value for database connection string. Your Docker here is a Docker file, right? So we build the image, we run the test, and then create the image, and then we upload into Azure Container Registry, and then after that uh, we load we load this Docker image. So let me show you the running here Docker images, Docker image, uh, Docker. Oh, Docker daemon is not running. Where's my Docker here? Let me start. Let me start the Docker. Now Docker desktop. So let me rerun the Docker desktop here. Give me a second. So right, but so we use the command line to do um, uh, create the image. We load into Azure Container Registry, and we upload to ACR, and then we create the web service, create a web service plan, and we load the Docker, uh, the 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 Docker, the images into um, the web services, right? We load the Docker into the web services. So that's the process that we did. And in terms of the GitHub, this is the this is where we load the code here. We have front end and back end, all of the code in here. And uh, let's see what else I want to show you. Uh, like, the pipeline, MongoDB, right? I show you the uh, I show you the uh, right. So yeah, so that's all I would like to show you. And when you run the application and uh, and you will see how uh, our application running. There are many features that we design, but in fact, we don't have enough time and people to do the work. So uh, uh, we only implement a few features: uh, user create user logging, and uh, create a post, read all of the posts, or